I'm going to give you some nice, juicy, sexy education on markets, especially in crypto. Look at these results, friends. This is the average hedge fund return, and on the right is the S&P 500 index return. Check this out. From 2010 to 2020, pretty much, this 10-year period, the S&P 500 beat the average hedge fund. I mean, it's absolutely wild, isn't it? And this is not a cherry-picked decade. It doesn't happen absolutely every single year, but most years, I think it actually does. It might actually be almost the most, right? The average hedge fund gets crushed. And I want you to understand why. So once you understand why, you'll truly grasp why it's in our best interest to keep our posture straight, wear fluffy slippers, and take a long-term holding approach, especially in crypto. You got to think about these hedge funds, friends. These hedge funds, right? It's not like you and Larry having like a little ciggy under the bridge, right? On like a Wednesday afternoon. And like, basically everyone's been calling your phone, but you just want to go on a bit of a bender in the middle of the week. It's not your average experience. Hedge funds, friends. You have a lot of like these like Asian pencil neck kids with like the collar shirt. They're like working in the back room. Then you have like, that Russian guy who's coming and like, he's got those piercing blue eyes and, he won some award and he's there researching, and then you got some other guy who comes in with Ralph Lauren type of like tie. He says like, probably some rich South African or something. So, you know what I mean? Like a lot of these kids come in and they're here to do all the work and then they get hooked up with these other experienced teams where they're trying to do quant, maybe even plug in AI. They're trying to get this inside information, and guess what? They still fail. So they have all these advantages here. They have people Ivy League, super smart, high SAT, right? Don't forget that Russian guy. You're a Russian guy's friend. The Russians, they got the piercing blue eyes. I can see right through your soul. Okay? Shout out to all my Russian baby dolls out there. Okay? Still fail. Why? Why is that? Hedge funds, friends, remember, they're doing crypto too. It's traders. Yeah. Why do they underperform? It's because they have a limit. Yeah. In markets, when you remove your time limit, you cut off the time dimension from the equation you're trying to solve. Then you just got to worry about price. So when you have a time limit, what happens? Now they're not seeing everything in terms of a I'm all in, don't care if it goes to zero, I'm willing to wait forever approach. They don't have that. That's it. Long-term holding approach, right? Their approach is I've got to pay for the water cooler, right? I've got to pay for the Christmas cookies. I've got to pay for the salaries. We've got a new receptionist. And that completely shifts the returns. Coupled with their over trading and then the edges change. That's another big thing as well, friends. The edge that you see in long-term holding, it's great, but you need to actually do the long-term holding. Otherwise, you don't get the edge. Remember, even in crypto, right, we know Bitcoin following global liquidity, they keep printing with the money printer. The money printer keeps turning on. Every month, it's compounding for you. Even though you don't feel it, you don't know it. You're like, man, we've been waiting years and years and years and years. Yeah, I get that part. But still, there's no other way to cheat it. But here's the interesting part. There's going to be a period where we look at the calendar and you realize, oh, it's December 2025. Or like it's June 2026. There will be that day. Yeah. And then there will be the parallel person who is doing the trading or hedge fund experience thing. They'll still be alive with you. But that calendar date will come. And then you just basically get to look at them and you go, what's your results? Now, obviously, everybody else is on their journey, but I guarantee you will absolutely murder the hedge fund results. Murder them. Now, the hedge fund people, why do they do what they do, friends? Well, they'll say, look, when the market goes down 80% one year, we want to be hedged. We like being only down 10% or 20%, which is a fair point in the middle of that moment. That's why we do things like you basically use your savings. You try not to do leverage, right? You try to use your own money. You keep DCA accumulating as much as you can. You take the longest term view. And you don't do any of these like breadcrumb entrance, right? Some people just went a bit too hard too early, which is fine. And then you just keep finding more money to like basically pile on in. Friends, they're the ones that win. Yeah, that's actually the story of that person who hits the home run. That's Warren Buffett, by the way, friends. Warren Buffett literally said so many times, he looks at his whole career, he goes, oh, I was literally just hitting one home run every about 5 or 6 years. That's a long time. Think about that. That's like a crypto cycle, man. It's like longer than a crypto cycle. You get it? Most hedge funds are way underperforming simply buying and holding. By the way, it does happen in crypto. They way underperform Bitcoin as well. So remember, when you're holding, you have compound interest working in your favor, especially in crypto, because Bitcoin's correlated to global liquidity, right? 89.5% inflation correlation. So remember, I have Albert Einstein, friends, right after he invented that energy equation, he said that compound interest was the 9th wonder of the world, whatever it was. You know, what's the 8th wonder of the world? Orange juice. So compound interest works in your favor just by holding long term. It's not just, oh, I get to earn yield on a bank account. It's not that. Because they're printing money as a percentage of the money supply every year. That's your compound interest. The government doesn't come out and say, we will print 500 billion units of the US dollar for the next 15 years. They don't do that. It's a percentage. It's around 7 to 8% of this money supply every year. So the power of you holding, right, in year 5, the money printer that's like pushing you up in the next cycle, it's doing a percentage of the money supply that already exists in 5 years from now. It's not doing a fixed amount. So all you got to do is simply hold. And then that person who's a hedge fund, who's a trader, they have to keep refining their edge. And what we know from that market, it's PVP, right? So yeah, there are the top 1 to 5% of people making money at the top. 95% getting crushed. They're getting weeded out over time. And then you have all these geniuses. Like I posted this, friends, a while ago. Barons, look at this. This was posted May 2nd. Stock market bulls have gone into hiding. Why our money pros are the most bearish in nearly 30 years. Very interesting, isn't it? They're too bearish on 2025. They won't know what hit them. Double bubble alt season. I hope we all get all the juicy good stuff. Yes, all the lollies and candy and unicorn and jelly beans and everything out here. But like even these super smart people, friends, right? They don't know a nice lollipop when they see one. You get it? Makes you wonder what they're actually looking at. But you know when you do this, you do a psychological profile check on these, they're usually older. They've lived through these big events. You know, because friends, our brains, right? Our brains are not built to focus on pleasure. Yeah, we're not actually built for that. Our brains over-factor negative experiences in our head. You know, like there's a bear or a tiger chasing you in the jungle. Obviously, we know that. We have PTSD. Once bitten, 15 times shy. Yeah, and that's how it reflects in people's pessimism as they basically get older. That's also why crypto is amazing. That's why I'm going to spin the helicopter hat once more for us. So, you know, with crypto, even looking at all these trends, there's a lot of ways to make money, okay? In bull market, remember, they print currency, Bitcoin goes up, everything's going up, altcoins and everything. There's a lot of ways to skin the cat, okay? Don't skin cats. We love kitty cats, okay? You have, you know, there's trading. In bull market, just get long anything, dude. Just get long anything. Don't do extreme amounts of leverage, and you could just the US dollars will go up. We know that. There's trading different time frames, day trading, the swing trading, everything. The yield farming appears. We have a new industry. We have the PumpFun Sewer, which is a JPEG casino. It's extremely PvP as well. So I guess the top 0.1% are taking money from all the other LA Vape Cabal, the feet sniffers, and the fart sniffers over there. So we're making all these. There's a lot of ways to make money exist. Yeah, but then you think at the end, right? There will come a point. Everyone's at the finish line, and the cycle's over. Okay, but no one thinks like that. No one thinks about, oh, I've got to play the whole cycle, because obviously people don't have that experience. People think they come into trade and they go, oh, I'm just going to make money. I'm learning a new skill. I can make money in the up market and the down market and everything out here. Yeah, but then you learn in crypto, it's different, man. The pot of gold that rains from the heavens, like it fills your hands, and it's just, you can't even fit it in your pocket anymore. All the coins dropping down. You're like, oh, my lord. Yeah. But as you now know, the bear market is a nuclear winter. There's no extreme volatility and consistency to win that. It's literally a nuclear winter holocaust wipeout. So it really is this like counter, this timer. It's like the slot machine, right? It hits sevens and it's just like raining coins. And then when it stops, it just full stops for everyone. And then you can't do anything. So there is a start and a finish line. I mean, you even see in the last cycle, right? Like no one says, oh, thank God I made so much money when crypto topped out last cycle. You know, in December 2021 to November. No one ever says that, right? If you go look at let's look at the Bitcoin price. You have not heard a single story where not even one story where one person says, whoa, man, like luckily I made so much money on the way down here. Obviously, there is the few traders who are just getting short, but you don't hear that, man. You hear what story do you hear? Everything was wrecked. It was dead, trying to scalp here, tiny money here, and then everything starts to kick off later, right? It will probably happen again to some extent. We know from the business cycle, global liquidity cycle, you know, cycles aren't going away. So it comes down to our same lesson all over again, right? What do you think the results are going to be? Do you think the results are going to be, hey, I traded 15,500 total times. I had a risk-reward ratio of 1 to 2.5. And do you think that person is going to be the one who has binked it, who has crushed it? Do you think it's going to be that person who's sharing screenshots? No, that's not the one. It's going to fool some people, but it's not going to be that. You know what it's going to be. The person who says, oh, put 15 grand in this coin. Yeah, and somehow now it's like 6.2 million. Of course, it's a total fluke. That's the ones we're going to hear, friends. We're going to hear stories. Oh, I made the 100x and the 50x. Right? Where was the trading and stuff in there? Nowhere. Literally nowhere. But once again, we've gone, you know, once you go through these gruesome periods, I mean, like, friends, look at Hex community, right? Hex community survived minus 99%. Truly remarkable. The strongest of cults. So when you're looking at this type of experience, I know it's tough, man, because you rid yourself of all dopamine. That's why you get the highest reward. Because when you're trading, you get a bit of a dopamine hit every day or every week, you know? You're like, oh, well, like if you're doing day trading, you get a dopamine hit every day. If you're doing the swing trading, you get a dopamine hit every like 2 to 4 days. Yeah, 2 to 5 days, a dopamine hit in there. When you're long-term holding, friends, there's no dopamine hit for about like over 1,000 days. That's 3 years. There's no dopamine hit. You get these little periods of, like, you know what I mean? A couple, but then it like sinks back down and there's just total reset, right? It's kind of like these little blips on it. If you could track your dopamine, it's like, but nothing. It's literally nothing. 2022 crushed, 2023 crushed, 2024 crushed. Here we go, 2025. Pretty much got 4 red months in a row. Like crush. You see what I mean? But the payout more than makes up for it. Right? It crushes the bones of non-believers. Yeah. Remember, friends, I was a day trader, man. Friends, I think about it every day. I watch trading videos all the time. Like, oh, yeah, I'm like, oh, I want to get back in, it's still programming in my brain, but I know, man. I know who's going to be the winner at the end. You know, I always do this like imaginary experiment in my head where I'm thinking of, oh, there's some trade, someone else is like making money trading. I always think, oh man, you know, if I had that account, I would just like liquidate it all and then go buy my altcoin bags. And then you'd be like, well, you know, and then like, they'd be like, oh, rotating into like this 25x in the future, they could be worth like $180 million. You know what I mean? You always think like that. They can never do that. It's you can't do that. They don't have the skill set. They don't have the belief. Look, friends, I know friends, like, you know, worth between like, you know, 4 to 10 mil where they won't put more than like 5 grand in an altcoin. Maximum. No more than 5 grand. More like 3K US. Right? And if it goes down, they feel really bad. They want to get out. Like if it goes down like 25%. Well, yeah, it's happened. I've seen people do that. Yeah, when it comes back, they'll like take it out for like break even or just plus 20% gain. Yeah. It just always puts it into perspective. I'm like, bro, how? And then I realize what you and I are doing, you have a skill. Yeah. It's not normal, man. it's it's not normal to see, but just like, for example, a coin go down 99% and it's not normal, man. It's not normal, you know, man. We have a skill. I know it doesn't look like it now, but think about it. If I just print the candles up 7x higher, you got the first momentum of people who start to like back everyone to come in as the horde. Imagine you were like 20x higher. You're like, oh, you're a king, you're a genius. You know, so that's by the way, so something's down 95%, you need a 20x just to get back to the top. You know what I mean? Just to get to all-time high. So if you bought something down 95%, it just got back to all-time high. You know, if you added bullets there. You see what I mean? You become, yes, you evolve in this game. So think about that with the dopamine hits and everything I've shown you out here. The hedge funds can't outperform just buying and holding. Remember, we are gifted in crypto because of the growth rates, man. Remember all the growth rates, friends? Remember this when I made one of my great macro video guides. Remember, this is the chart. Look at this table, yeah? These numbers here, they are the annualized, so per year growth rate, right? And we remember the government is printing, let's just call it, you know, 8% per year. So you've got to beat 8% per year in the asset you're in. You got to pick assets that, you know, have history and, you know, belief that you can do more than 8% per year. Well, friends, look at this. Everything is dog shit. Everything's dog shit. Look at this. These are like treasuries, 2%, 3%, 1, zeros, all this garbage. You know, friends, you know all these low growth rates, they are paying for the debt. You know that? That's why they're printing money to pay off the debt, right? Who's losing? The purchasing power. So people buying the bonds, people buying all the assets, so we're getting less of a growth rate. Yeah, you're giving money effectively to the hands of the government to pay off the debt. And also people who hold, obviously, part of this is US cash or just government fiat. Yeah, so people who, unfortunately, like, you know, you work your salary, if you hold your savings in the fiat, yeah, you're losing your purchasing power. They're taking it off you. Okay, but look at Bitcoin and Ethereum up the top. Bitcoin, 130% per year. Ethereum, 113%. Solana, 142%. You know, it's only the NASDAQ that's 16%, but that's still, oh, wow, it's the best of everything else. No, man, but like, look at these numbers, 100% per year, friends. Like that, like Warren Buffett made 20% per year compounded. The greatest investor in the world, Warren Buffett. So Bitcoin's growing at 130% per year. You know what I mean? Like it's blitzing Warren Buffett by 6x. Now, going forward from here, like the real numbers though, it's a bit, you know, that's why I made this chart here. I looked at the growth rate in 4-year epochs because that number's like a 10-year thing. That's for like boomer macro people. This is more realistic, right? So Bitcoin used to run at 400% per year. My gosh, that was huge. Then 165. These are 4 years, halvening to halvening. Right, then 96, down 67. Maybe the next one, I just guessed 40%. You know, that's still enormous, bro. Like you're still in the diminished return. You're still twice as good as Warren Buffett. You don't have any skill. It's just literally holding this, right? And the altcoins will shoot through that as well. So we are taking advantage of this gift while it's here. And remember, there will be people who come out as a crypto cycle progresses. People say, I've missed it. Everything's too high. I'm going to start trading and doing all this stuff. And so begins the new people coming in. And then we're going to get the screenshots shared. Everyone's going to share the screenshots of, oh, I made so much money. There's going to spread like wildfire. And it's just going to permeate throughout society. They're going to come in and everyone's going to be looking for those sexy, juicy altcoins that are going to come and change their life. So I have full faith. Everything is still going to plan. We just got to keep on believing. Like, subscribe, catch you soon.